that's if they score a goal immediately. There'll be a minimum 20-minute warm-up. So I guess technically earliest could be like 4:05, but that's if they score in the next 30 seconds here. But keep an eye on this. I'll update in the chat on YouTube stream. And obviously we'll start as soon as we can. Thanks for listening. Okay, so apparently my microphone was turned down about as low as it could possibly have gone. So I came on to give a bit of an announcement, and I listened back to see what it sounded like for a sound check, and I was barely audible. But yeah, we've just barely started overtime for the game preceding Ridgeline versus Dixie. So they're going now. They got about 8 minutes left in the first overtime. Had a few close chances, but no scores yet. So, and once they finish overtime, believe they do golden goal. We almost had one there. It will, I believe they'll conclude because I believe they do golden goal. And there'll be a 20-minute minimum wait for the next game, our game, obviously, that we'll be broadcasting here. So keep an eye on it. I'd anticipate about 30 minutes. And we'll go from there. Just another quick update. The previous game is finished. They put 20 minutes on the clock. They're warming up, and so we should begin in about 20 minutes here. We'll begin the broadcast officially and get it on radio in probably about 10 minutes or so.
It's time for Ridgeline High School Sports, a presentation of 104.5 The Ranch and CashValleyDaily.com. Brought to you by Castelite, The Cater Shop, DD Auto and Salvage, Great Basin Graphics, Adams Wealth Advisors, Cache Valley Auto Care, Young Toyota and Young Honda, Cache Valley Daily, Napa Auto Parts, Les Olson IT, The Logo Shop, and Planet Fitness. Now, it's time for the Ridgeline Riverhawks on 104.5 The Ranch.
Welcome on into 104.5 The Ranch here for some Ridgeline High School Sports here again on 104.5 The Ranch. I'm Jason Walker. I'll be taking you through tonight's festivities, or this afternoon's festivities, one might say, as Ridgeline Riverhawks will be taking on the Dixie Flyers for the right to advance to the 4A state championship game. Their opponent was decided earlier today, but Ridgeline has an opponent in front of it right now, and it's certainly a very capable one. The Dixie Flyers come into this one as the number 2 seed and the highest seed remaining, as the number 1 seed Murray was, I believe, knocked off earlier in the tournament, and so Dixie is now the presumed favorite, as they lost to Mountain View in penalties. Now, to look back at the other games in the semifinal, to look at where the teams have, how the teams have gotten here, I should say. You have Ridgeline, who got here via defeating Snow Canyon 5-1 in the first round back on May 13th. Then a May 15th victory over Orem. Those tied 2-2. They went to overtime and ended up getting the win in penalties. So they have gotten their way to the semifinal as the 6th seed. And Dixie, they got here by way of defeating Logan, Ridgeline's Region 11 rival. The Dixie Flyers defeated the Logan Grizzlies 5-1 and then defeated at Timpanogos 5-0. So 2 very dominant victories from Dixie, and that's been pretty typical for them. They are a high-scoring team, and they've allowed 19 goals on the season, so they've allowed some scoring.
Find the parts and the oil you need to keep your car and equipment running its best at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts. All the best brand names. And when you need professional help, Napa can recommend a dozen Napa Car Care Centers with ASE certified technicians.
At Planet Fitness, you'll get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this? This is better.
Join the judgment-free zone today for $15 a month. Planet Fitness. Big fitness energy for all.
DD Auto and Salvage is going to pay you the most for junk vehicles. Get rid of your junk vehicles today. Pickup is available. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204 today. See store for details.
When your car isn't working right, you just need someone who can help make your life a little easier. Cache Valley Auto Care can. Hear what people are saying online.
They'll always take the time to help you understand what they're doing to your car and go above and beyond to solve your issue.
Cache Valley Auto Care.
From what's happening in local political elections, to breaking news, to photo galleries and replays of the latest games. If it's happening in our community, it's on CacheValleyDaily.com and the Cache Valley Daily app. Local, relevant news on CacheValleyDaily.com.
Locker 42. This is the store for Aggie fans. All your favorite apparel with an Aggie logo. Stay warm and fashionable in a cocoon blanket or a coat. Pick out a warm Aggie beanie. Choose a hat from Locker 42's wall of hats. This is the store where Aggie fans shop. Locker 42, downtown Logan.
When a client walks into the office, I want them to feel like they have a team that is full-time working for them.
We really start from the ground up, setting our goals, understanding your situation, and then building the plan to maximize that quality of life.
Visit Adams Wealth Advisors.
I have a deal for you. I'll turn the cable back on when you get my kitchen floor finished.
How do I do that in time to watch my team win?
Use the expert help at Castalite. For all your brick, block, rock, paver, and tile needs, Castalite.com.
The Mountain Crest Booster Club encourages you to support the sponsors that support the Mustangs. Scabelin Roofing, Pool Orthodontics, Reed's Pharmacy, Airbound Gymnastics, Blue Water Construction, Mitco Landscaping, and Ridley's Market. To join the Mountain Crest Booster Club, contact the Mountain Crest Athletic Department and support the sponsors that support the Mustangs.
Searching for copiers and printers? Les Olson IT has what you need. Find reliable HP printers, award-winning Sharp copiers, and high-end Ricoh graphic systems.
Les Olson IT.
They really can put your logo on just about anything. That's what they do at the Logo Shop. Businesses, teams, booster clubs, school organizations, call the Logo Shop and have them show you the possibilities. The Logo Shop, committed to schools, teams, and youth groups.
Find the parts and the oil you need to keep your car and equipment running its best at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts. All the best brand names. And when you need professional help, Napa can recommend a dozen Napa Car Care Centers with ASE certified technicians.
At Planet Fitness, you'll get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this? This is better.
Join the judgment-free zone today for $15 a month. Planet Fitness. Big fitness energy for all.
It'll be Dixie with the kick at midfield. Now the ball goes out of bounds. Dixie throw in as now they get things going. Ridgeline providing high pressure at midfield, retained by the Flyers. Moving up the field. So, sorry, we just barely got our audio working properly. Thank you so much for joining us here on 104.5 The Ranch. Apologies for any issues with the audio. We had a bit of a crazy setup. So we're just 2 minutes into this one, so we've not missed a whole lot on this audio broadcast. And nearly a goal for the Dixie Flyers early in this one as the number 2 seed, as they aim to make a statement here, trying to advance to the championship game. The winner of this one will face Crimson Cliffs, who won in overtime, getting the golden goal 6 minutes into the first overtime period. But here, Ridgeline and Dixie vying for the right to face the Mustangs. Long goal kick from the Riverhawks goes out of bounds off the foot of goalkeeper Crosby West, and then off the chest of one of his attackers. Dixie trying to move the ball through the midfield, but cleared away by the Riverhawks as they move the ball toward the attacking third, bouncing it around and having it tipped out of bounds, and it'll be Ridgeline throw-in. Bit of a bang-bang play there. Both players getting a foot to the ball, but it'll be Ridgeline Riverhawks ball as they throw it in, trying to advance it, and a foul committed by the Riverhawks as Christopher Terrazza goes down for the Flyers. He's got 1 goal and a pair of assists on the season from that back line. A lot of different players for the Flyers have scored this season. Now they switched the field, still in their defensive half, now moving it up into the midfield, nearly across the midfield stripe here at Zions Bank Stadium. Now dribbling along that midfield stripe and then passing it up into the attack. Bit of a contact, no call, steal by the Riverhawks as they do a give and go, trying to put the through ball in. That's Luke Bingham, but he's unable to connect with his teammates Ben Cotter or the other one. I had to check, Connor Barnett, the leading scorer for the Riverhawks this season, 11 goals and 4 assists. Long drop kick from Mason Rudolph, the keeper for the Flyers. But Ridgeline is able to retain control on the other end of it. Now trying a through ball up the far sideline, going right to left, but it's too far and can't find the feet of Connor Barnett on that right wing. Throw in, kicked by Ridgeline back into the attacking third. Ball is settling, finds its way back to the Ridgeline half, and then cleared way forward. Some high pressure being placed on that back line for Dixie. And a clear out of bounds, Joe Paisley for Dixie. He just has to send that one out of bounds. He was facing pressure from the Ridgeline attack. So they'll have a throw in deep in attacking territory, about level with the top of the goal box. Throw in near the end line, now dribbling it back up and then taken away by Dixie. And they're going to move on the counterattack, see if they can get a goal here. On the run, going up the near sideline, going left to right. Taylor Cogan, their top goal scorer, 29 goals this season. He had it on his feet, now he gives it up. Now we're on the far sideline. Dixie nearly losing the ball, and they will. Ridgeline getting this. Oh, no, there's a foul. Hard to hear the whistle from forever away in my booth here as Gerardo Vargas gets called for the foul. My apologies if I mispronounced any of these names. Vargas with 4 goals, 10 assists. It's the leading assister for the Riverhawks. Dixie moving into a dangerous position, looking for a cross. They're on this near sideline. On the right now, passing it out. Swinging pass into the box, cleared away easily by the Riverhawks, but still in possession of the Flyers, getting the ball on their feet and then trying a shot. It's blocked. Still in possession of Dixie as they try another cross, getting it in, and it's blocked and deflected over the end line. That'll be the first corner kick of the game for either team, as it was Christopher Terraza of the Flyers who had the ball on his feet, dribbling it around, trying to get something going. And Terraza will now go and kick the corner from the far sideline on the right here from my perspective. As Dixie goes left to right in their blue jerseys, Ridgeline going right to left in their white jerseys. Corner lifted very well. Good touch on there, but nobody on the end of the cross. Dixie going to eventually track it down. Now on this near sideline, trying another cross, and it's poked out of bounds by Dylan Jones of the Riverhawks. He managed to get that one away from Melvin Contreras, who's been pretty productive on the wing himself this season for the Flyers. 8 goals and 6 assists. Throw in on this near sideline, and ball ends up going out of bounds. Dixie trying to draw a foul there. There's a bit of contact, but the referee not buying it, saying it was incidental. Ridgeline gets the throw in, trying to move it up on the near sideline, but ultimately losing possession. Dixie with it once again. Nearly lost it. Now they do. Ridgeline with it, trying to get a counterattack going. Just not the quite good enough touch from Barnett, as he was trying to connect with Ben Cotter as they were going back and forth, weaving around the back line of Dixie, but one touch ends the opportunity. So throw in for Dixie on the near sideline after all that. And then lost the ball out of bounds, did Melvin Contreras. And it'll be Ridgeline ball, a throw in. So they throw it over the midfield stripe, but it goes into Dixie control. Now pinballing around, trying to find an owner, and now Dixie has it. Trying to get a through ball up the left side, but nothing going there, and cleared up into the Dixie half, and now cleared again. Sun in the eyes of some of the players. The sun has suddenly come out from behind the clouds on this somewhat overcast day, or partly cloudy day more accurately. And Dixie works their way into just inside the attacking third and get themselves a throw-in. And now they get it in. They're about 10 yards away from the goal box on this right side. Now trying to work it back toward the middle, but stolen by the Riverhawks. And just about stolen back. They're fighting for the ball on top of the box. And now Ridgeline getting it secured. And there's a foul. Referee was waiting to potentially play advantage, as one of Riverhawks guys got tripped up. And so here we go. The Riverhawks with the free kick in their defensive half. Taken and set up, trying to lay it off to one of his guys, nearly losing it, but great job by Luke Bingham to win that one back. And then keeping it in bounds was Dylan Jones. Now Bingham with it again, working against a couple of different Flyers players, sending it forward, and a mistake ends up forcing a clear by the Flyers. It'll be a deep throw-in for the Riverhawks. Now they throw it in. Clear ends up going right to a Riverhawk player. He tries to swing it into the box. Deflected. I've got a beam like right in my way. It's hard for me to see what's going on here. Ridgeline trying to keep the ball in the corner. They'll send a cross in, but easily scooped up by Randolph. I think I called him Rudolph earlier. Mixed him up with the former Steelers quarterback. Long drop kick nearly into the box of the Riverhawks. Dixie getting on the end of it. 1 man against 5 in the box. And then going down, Ridgeline getting possession of the ball. Joe Paisley basically had nothing he could do there. Though Dixie does manage to get the ball back, they have it near midfield. Now switching it from the near sideline to the left, or the far sideline. The left sideline from Dixie's perspective. Pass forward is deflected off one of the Ridgeline players. That'll just end up making Dixie throw the ball in from about the middle of their defensive half. We have a substitution as Alex Sarabia coming in. Let's see the number of the guy that he's coming in for. So he'll join the show in the attack. He came in for Kimball Carter. Ridgeline gets a free kick in their defensive half, now sending it nearly all the way to the goal box of Dixie. And Dixie ends up being on the end of it as they push forward, trying to counterattack. Ridgeline's got plenty of numbers back defensively, and so Dixie will slow things down, trying to work the ball up this near sideline. Now sending it back toward the middle, Ridgeline giving some pressure. Now Dixie backs off once again, trying to send a through ball through, but miscommunication there. Although Dixie ends up winning back, not a great pass from the Ridgeline Riverhawks, or a great clear. Dixie ends up getting it back, but again, they have to back off, trying to find a way through this stingy Ridgeline defense. Now, a good poke away by the Riverhawks. Jones getting that ball free. Ends up being a throw-in. Taylor Cogan has the ball, trying to work his way to get across, trying to dance through the defense. No go as Ridgeline manages to poke the ball away once again, but once again, it will be a throw. Dixie working the ball toward the middle. Got a bit of space. Now they're going to go far sideline, try and find some space, looking for a cross. Working against the defense, going towards the baseline, into the box. Low cross, gets all the way through. Heart-stopping moment for the Riverhawks. And Dixie on the other end of it, now trying to cross the ball back into the box. Cogan on top, trying to maintain possession of the ball, but he is swarmed, and Ridgeline eventually gets it away from him and clears the ball. Had a bit of contact, couple of guys falling to the ground, but no call. Referee saying he both fell over each other. Not going to blow the whistle. Now we will have a foul and a late challenge. Christopher Terraza goes down. Don't appear to be having a card coming out. It was a late and pretty hard challenge. And Terraza still on the ground as he grasps his leg after going down. And I believe we're going to have... I thought we were going to have a substitution. We're going to play on. We'll have the free kick from essentially midfield. Just a couple of strides inside Ridgeline's defensive half. Dixie taking over. They've had possession most of this half, but Ridgeline haven't allowed a significant chance yet, but we might have one right here. Shot, blocked, shot or cross. That was Contreras trying to get something to happen inside the box, but it is blocked and sent over the end line. It'll be a throw, or excuse me, a corner. And Contreras with the ball at his feet. Cogan comes over to talk to him. They're both going to stand over the ball. And now Contreras, he runs up the sideline. So Cogan going to send this one in. As he steps up, left-footed. 25 minutes to go here in this first half. 0-0 between the Ridgeline Riverhawks and Dixie Flyers. Cross comes in. Doesn't get to anyone initially. And then it's ultimately sent over the end line. Oh, I thought that was out of bounds on Ridgeline for another corner, but it's ultimately going to be a goal kick. And referees talking with each other. I think there was some confusion. Like I said, from up here, I thought it was going to be a corner kick. Now we're finally going to get the goal kick. Sending it deep, but Dixie ultimately getting possession after a hard first touch from the Riverhawks. Dixie has dominated possession as Ridgeline's barely even had a chance to muster any offense. But the Flyers haven't managed to break through yet. 0-0, 24, just under 25 minutes. Ridgeline getting a run up the far sideline, cleared out of bounds. As the Riverhawks got a deflection and nearly finding its way to Barnett on the far sideline. Riverhawks going right to left here at Zions Bank Stadium in this 4A boys soccer semifinal. As the winner of this game will advance to play Crimson Cliffs at America First Field later this week. So Ridgeline getting the throw in, trying to fight for possession, getting it near the box. And it's still fighting for Drew Scott. Just came in. Now ball sent in and over the head of its intended target. Dylan Jones was trying to find his man, Ethan Howes, for that one, but just sent that lofted through ball a little too far, and he couldn't get a shot on goal. Now Randolph will have a goal kick. He'll send this one. It'll get to just about midfield, headed by the Riverhawks, and trying to control it, doing a pretty good job, and then finally securing it was Alto Pirtle. And then we now have a pause in play as we have an injured man down on the field, away from where the ball was. And I believe it was the man who was down earlier, took that hard challenge. It's hard to see him when he's prone on the ground. Yeah, it was indeed the same man who took that challenge, Christopher Terraza. In that midfield spot, he took a hard challenge and ultimately shook it off, but then I think he went down and got to take some time off the field. Hopefully we'll see him back soon, as you never like to see those injuries. 23 minutes and 16 seconds as the clock has stopped momentarily for the injury. It's the first half of this 4A boys soccer semifinal between the Ridgeline Riverhawks and Dixie Flyers. Now we'll drop the ball, and Ridgeline going to push the ball into the attacking half. One-man run from the defense, now pushing it forward up the left side, trying to keep it in bounds and just barely unsuccessful. Carter Wolfley, the senior, trying to track it down after Pirtle went on quite the run. He got the drop ball and then just took it about 30 to 40 yards before eventually, kind of unintentionally, poking it forward for Wolfley. Now Dixie, after the goal kick, trying to get it up midfield, but the pass just too high and goes over the far sideline, right at midfield. Ridgeline taking no time before sending this throw in and putting some high pressure on Dixie as they try to clear the ball after getting on the end of the initial throw. And now it's Ridgeline's turn to head the ball out of bounds at just about the same spot they threw in from moments ago. Midfield on the far sideline, Dixie now with the ball. 22 minutes left to play in this opening half. 0-0 between two teams that average, I believe, a combined 7.5 goals per game. These are two high-scoring teams. Dixie especially so, at nearly 4.5 goals per game just themselves. Well, when you get to the semifinals, it gets a lot harder. Ridgeline wins a free kick just about at midfield, closer to the far sideline. And they'll look to boom this one right into the box. They'll do just that, right at the top of the box. Trying to head it on unsuccessfully, it was Ben Cotter. Tried to head that and then nearly had a chance to turn and kick it even after he missed it. Now Cotter almost wins a chance at goal. He managed to head the ball down and try to chase after it as it rolled into the box, but it's cleared by the Flyers here on the near sideline. Ridgeline's had about 3 or 4 throw-ins from this part of the field, but haven't managed to come up with anything thus far. Wait for some substitutions here as we cross under 21 minutes to play in the opening half. Ridgeline throwing it in. Ball is headed and ends up away from the box. Ridgeline with their feet on the ball. And now trying to control it. Trying to move into the attacking third once again. Toward the box. Ball is tipped away. Recovered by the Riverhawks, though, as they retain possession. Although a poor touch ends up giving it to Ridgeline just as I say that. Pirtle tries to win a header and ends up committing a foul. Ends up taking down the man he was trying to keep the ball away from. Alex Sarabia. Now Joe Pasley Gives it up, gets it right back. Now gives it back up to Contreras. Working the ball into the middle, sends a wild shot. That'll go down as the first shot on goal of the game for either team. And technically the first save, but I don't know if it was worthy of that title. Just didn't quite get enough on it. But Dixie will surely have more of those attempts coming. It's one of the highest scoring teams in the state. Dixie wins the ball after the drop kick. Now moving left to right, going up this near sideline. Kogan, their top scorer, trying to dribble one-on-one, but eventually has the ball poked away from him out of bounds. But it'll stay Dixie ball as they'll throw in. About midway up their attacking half. Might call it the attacking third. As they throw it in, nearly stolen by the Riverhawks, but Dixie's still on it, trying to fit the ball through a small window for a potential chance. Ridgeline getting the steal, sending a long through ball, but that just gets way away from the Riverhawks. Connor Barnett, the intended target, but he was about 20 yards behind that ball. Eventually falls into the hands of Randolph. He sends a booming drop kick forward. Ridgeline getting the first clean touch on it, but it ends up pinballing all the way back to Dixie. Trying to send a long ball up to the attackers, but Ridgeline too good for it. Pirtle once again winning the ball, now going on another run, trying to set up a through ball. He'll send one through, and it's not going to be enough, just a little too far off, trying to find Ethan Howes. Oh, Howes does win the ball. He gets it on the end line. Nearly a one-man show there. Forces a clear, and I believe it'll be a corner. It'll be a throw. No, it'll be a throw. I misinterpreted the referee's signal as a corner. It'll be dang near a corner. It'll basically be a long throw-in. They'll see if they can try and lob this one in the box, make something happen. But I'm blocked and can't quite see. As we now have the throw-in, it'll go a little bit into the box, headed on toward the middle of it. But Dixie's going to be the first one to truly track it down and put a foot on it. They'll send it out of bounds. It'll be another Ridgeline throw, this time on the far sideline. Quickly sent in and then nearly lost. He's done some quick one-on-one dribbling, then sending it into the box, and that one will roll into the safe arms of Mason Randolph. Not 100% sure if that was a cross or some kind of shot. Ultimately, it ends up in Randolph's hands either way. Long drop kick. Ends up on the feet of the Riverhawks. They push forward, had a bit more possession, though as they say that, Dixie doing a good job of winning and keeping possession, although as I say that, Ridgeline gets it back. Curse of the commentator, can't get rid of it. And in the spirit of changing possession really quickly, Dixie ends up with the throw as Ridgeline couldn't keep the ball in on the near sideline moving into the attack. Good little skill check there from Sarabia as he then moves the ball up into the attacking third. Dixie not with enough numbers though, so they'll back it up toward the far sideline, trying to work it up there, going left to right. Ridgeline winning the ball, now going right to left, moving the ball at midfield. Passing around their midfielders, now back passing to their back line as they get their attack started once again from scratch. Moving the ball up the far sideline, kicked out of bounds by Dixie, so Ridgeline going to take a second and throw it in. Now a long pass, trying to find a man in the box with a lofting ball. Barnett, again the intended target, but Mason Randolph is the one who ends up with the ball in his mitts. Just under 16 minutes to play, still zeros between the Ridgeline Riverhawks and Dixie Flyers in this 4A boys soccer state semifinal playoff game. These two teams are looking for a championship. The 2-seed Dixie, the heavy favorite, against the 6-seed Ridgeline Riverhawks, who finished second in their region. Or no, I believe they were first in their region. He went 10-2 in region play. Actually, I need to double check that. I need to go double check my facts on all the different sports that I've been following in spring are clouding together. Now Dixie with the throw-in as they have the ball on the far sideline. Trying to work the ball back into the middle. Pirtle with an excellent step in. Moving the ball forward. Ridgeline trying to push a counterattack. It's 2 against 4. Still moving up and then nearly winning the ball. They do win the ball in the attacking half, forcing a throw-in. As I believe, yes, that was Barnett who basically shielded the Dixie player from the ball, forcing him to just poke it out of bounds. So it'll be a Ridgeline throw-in, about level with the goal box on the far sideline. They'll back pass it slightly, but then work it back. Trying to get a swinging ball inside. Looking for a header, but headed away by the Flyers. Now it's a race to the clear, and Ridgeline is going to let the ball get ushered out of bounds. They'll work a throw in here. Getting it into the box, a bit of contact, but not enough for a foul. Clear, not very well. And then chipped by one of the Riverhawks. That was Barnett, and it ends up being picked out of the air. Something that looked more dangerous than it probably was. Mason Randolph picks it up out of the air. Ridgeline getting on the other end of Randolph's drop kick and now pushing into the attack again, trying a through ball, but puts it between 3 different players that were in the attack. Just not quite the through ball they were looking for, but Ridgeline creating a lot more chances and a lot more possession later in this first half after Dixie dominated about the first 10-15 minutes here at Zions Bank Stadium. 13 minutes to play in the opening half. Again, we're still knotted up at 0. As these two fantastic soccer teams continue to battle, we've had 2 overtime games so far here at Zions Bank Stadium. Part of the reason for the delayed kickoff, the game before went to overtime, is Mountain View and Crimson Cliffs were tied 1-1 at the end of regulation. Crimson Cliffs getting the game winner about 6 minutes in. Ridgeline trying to move up the near sideline, nearly getting a run in on goal was Jones. But again, kicked out of bounds by Dixie as they use the sideline to force Ridgeline to create something off of a throw-in. They're setting up for a long throw-in, going to try and lob this one into the middle of the box. Not quite into the middle of the box. Headed on by Dixie. Nearly falls to the feet of Ridgeline. Cleared away, and now Dixie on the end of it. One man, there's 3. Contreras trying to fight the entire Ridgeline defense. And ultimately, there's contact. Pirtle went down. I thought Contreras tripped him. They're not going to call the foul. And then another looked like a trip as Contreras goes down, but the referee, I guess, maintaining his consistency and letting some of that contact go. Just under 12 minutes to play in this first half. Dixie, after all of that action there, has themselves a throw-in. Near sideline as they go left to right. Now Contreras trying to find room for a cross, making his way toward the end line. And they're going to end up calling a foul. Contreras goes down. He was trying to draw something as he got 2 players on him trying to poke the ball away. They're essentially going to have a corner. Contreras working hard to shield the ball away from 2 different Ridgeline players and forcing the eventual foul. So with 11 minutes here, we'll have a set piece. As I believe that's Kogan on the ball. He'll set up this left-footed in-swinger and ends up just going long and well out of bounds. Just had an excellent corner in terms of placement earlier, but couldn't get that one to work, just a little bit long. It'll be a goal kick for the Riverhawks. 10 minutes to play, just a little over 10 minutes to play. In this first half, still 0-0. In this 4A boys soccer semifinal game. Now Dixie with the ball, Through pass into the box. Excellent opportunity. Kogan I thought he got a foot on it, but ultimately into the hands of Crosby West. Best opportunity of the game so far for either team, but Dixie just couldn't quite convert. Good job of West coming off his line to eventually corral that ball and keep it away from the back of the net. Now in the aftermath, Dixie winning the ball near midfield after West had delivered the ball, trying to get his own counterattack started. But now Kogan trying to backheel through the Riverhawks defense, but it's stolen away by Ridgeline and then lost out of bounds. Vargas upset with himself. He thought he should have gotten a better touch to that one. Been an excellent player. Vargas wins the ball back momentarily, but it's taken by Dixie right about midfield. And then stolen away, some physical play, earning the ball for the Riverhawks. Now sending the ball up the far sideline. Cross into the middle, chance, and then scooped up. Mason Randolph coming off his line for his own moment of heroics. As Ridgeline was maybe a step or two away from potentially getting a touch on that. Put in the back of the net. A potentially excellent through ball deflected off its path. Great header from the Riverhawks, and it'll ultimately result in a throw-in. As Wyatt Woods had a run going up the far sideline. Could have had a chance to dribble that one into the box, but after the deflection, he had to wait up for the ball. Throw in with 8.5 minutes to play here in this first half, 0-0 between Dixie and Ridgeline. You're listening to this game on 104.5 The Ranch, as well as audio streaming on CashValleyDaily.com. Dixie trying to send another through ball. They've got trying to dribble the ball toward the end line and send a cross in, and the attempted cross is deflected out of bounds by the Riverhawks. Denair Dean getting a foot in front of that ball and send it flying into the boards. So it'll be a corner kick. And John Porter trotting over to take this one. Setting things up for the Flyers. They've averaged north of 4 goals per game this season. They've scored 5 in each of their 2 playoff games, but nothing yet. Corner kick sent in and kind of softly deflected out. This makes its way toward midfield, but Dixie getting back to it, dribbling toward the end line, trying to find room for a cross. Contreras tries to send it in, but he accidentally tipped the ball away with his plant foot, kept it away from the actual cross he was trying to send in. Now Contreras getting it back. A bit of a skill check there, rainbowing it over his head there. Not really a rainbow, just kicking it up. Now getting toward the end line, facing 2 players once again. And once again trying to draw a foul there, selling a bit of contact. But he earns a throw in for his efforts of getting the ball that deep into Ridgeline territory. So it'll be a throw. He'll send it back to his own man, Joe Pasley. Now some good connecting passes. Kogan working the ball into the box, trying to dump it off for a shot, but stepping in and kicking it away is Ridgeline. Great team defense there. Contreras trying to loft the pass and does so successfully, but Kogan wasn't ready for it. So now a drop kick, sending it into Dixie defensive territory. Dixie ultimately getting possession of the ball, moving back into the Ridgeline defensive half. Working through some possession. Now Ridgeline getting a step, stealing the ball, sending a through ball up, trying to get it to Cotter. He's going to have the ball on the left side of the box, 2-on-2. Trying to make something happen. Cotter diving toward the end line, kicking it in, and it goes over the end line. It's going to be a goal kick. Just couldn't get anything going. And I wonder if he was expecting somebody to be on the back post. There was only one other man close to him, and that was Connor Barnett. Although he had come over to kind of the near side of the field where Cotter was. It's going to be a goal kick as we close in on 5 minutes to play in the opening half. Goal kick making its way to midfield. Ridgeline gets a header on it, but now Dixie settling it at their feet. And moving the ball to the far sideline, trying to go left to right here. Though for the moment, going side to side. Now finally getting the ball to midfield, working it around their midfield. Several players getting a touch here. Now a long switching cross, high in the air, trying to get to the near sideline here. And not a great touch, and this turf just takes a hold of that ball, sends it over the sideline. Kind of a long throw in, trying to find Cotter, running up the near sideline, goes out of bounds. It'll be a Ridgeline throw. And now throwing it in, Ridgeline getting the ball, trying to move it up. Cotter looking for a cross, too hard of a touch as he tried to make his way toward the end line, and there was an offside anyway. So instead of a goal kick, we'll have offside. And we'll have a quick substitution. We've had a few substitutions that haven't been on top of all these. Just under 4 to play here in the opening half. 0-0, Ridgeline and Dixie tied here. These teams have scored 17 goals in their combined 4 games of the playoffs. But nothing yet so far in the first about 37 minutes of play. A foul called on Dixie. A little too aggressive was Taylor Cogan as he tried to win the ball. He's been one of the most dominant players in all of 4A. 29 goals, 15 assists for the senior. But ultimately not managing to get the better of the defense in that case. Alto Pirtle sending the ball toward midfield to the feet of his teammates. Although Dixie managing to get a step and stealing. Ridgeline just about returning the favor, and they do, winning the ball. Graydon Rupp getting it. Now the ball tipped away by Dixie. Well, as they tip it away, it ultimately crawls over the near sideline. Throw in for the Riverhawks with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the opening half. As we are scoreless thus far. We're going to have a high kick on Dixie. And a quick little high five or low five there. Felix Meza wasn't trying to get his boot too close to the head of Connor Barnett, but sometimes these things happen. No harm in only a little foul in this case. Pirtle with the kick. We're about 10-15 yards in the attacking half for Ridgeline, basically on the near sideline. But he's going to try and loft this one into the box. Here we go. It'll be an indirect free kick, swinging it in. Tapped right at the top of the goal box. Trying to move it around, getting it in, looking for a cross, blocked. As Dylan Jones couldn't quite get his cross into the box, but it will be a corner for the Riverhawks. They'll try and swing this one in. They got everyone very near to the back post. Here it comes low and tipped, kicked out of the box, well out of the box. Ridgeline trying to send it back in. It's getting headed around. Headed back, kicked a little bit further back, and Ridgeline will take control if they got all their numbers back. Now sending it forward quickly and into the box. Ben Cotter was the closest Ridgeline player to it, but Randolph. I'm going to keep calling him Rudolph all game on accident. He was the one who got it, but after he cleared it, Ridgeline gets possession and draws a foul. And now we're going to have a yellow card. Bit of a cheeky play there as Pablo Diaz quickly jumped in front of the ball. He's about 5 yards away from it. You're not allowed to be that close. He was trying to keep them from kicking it, but then Miguel Gustav just went and kicked it really quick, hit him, and since Diaz was too close, that's a yellow card. Granted, I've not seen referees interpret it that way. Usually they just kind of restart it. But here we go. Ridgeline with the low-driven kick, nearly causing some chaos, but Randolph managing to get his mitts on it. 30 seconds left to play in this half as we remain scoreless. And we'll likely go into halftime that way. But Ridgeline dribbling the ball into the attack. One last attempt here. It'll go a bit too long. There's Randolph again coming off his line. Scoop that one up and keep it away from Cotter. Under 10 seconds to play. And the ball cleared high up in the air. And that will do it for our first half here at Zions Bank Stadium. The Ridgeline Riverhawks 0, the Dixie Flyers 0, as both these high-scoring teams have showcased their defense this afternoon in an excellent display of good possession, good defense, and good goalkeeping from both goalkeepers, as they've not had to make any acrobatic saves, but good timely jumps off of their line. We'll go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be back here on 104.5 The Ranch, and audio streaming on CashValleyDaily.com.
Beyond to solve your issue.
Cache Valley Auto Care.
From what's happening in local political elections, to breaking news, to photo galleries and replays of the latest games. If it's happening in our community, it's on CashValleyDaily.com and the Cache Valley Daily app. Local, relevant news on CashValleyDaily.com.
Locker 42. This is the store for Aggie fans. All your favorite apparel with an Aggie logo. Stay warm and fashionable in a cocoon blanket or a coat. Pick out a warm Aggie beanie. Choose a hat from Locker 42's wall of hats. This is the store where Aggie fans shop. Locker 42, downtown Logan.
When a client walks into the office, I want them to feel like they have a team that is full-time working for them.
We really start from the ground up, setting our goals, understanding your situation, and then building the plan to maximize that quality of life.
Visit Adams Wealth Advisors.
I have a deal for you. I'll turn the cable back on when you get my kitchen floor finished.
How do I do that in time to watch my team win?
Use the expert help at Castalite. For all your brick, block, rock, paver, and tile needs, Castalite.com.
The Mountain Crest Booster Club encourages you to support the sponsors that support the Mustangs. Scabelin Roofing, Pool Orthodontics, Reed's Pharmacy, Airbound Gymnastics, Blue Water Construction, Mitco Landscaping, and Ridley's Market. To join the Mountain Crest Booster Club, contact the Mountain Crest Athletic Department and support the sponsors that support the Mustangs.
Searching for copiers and printers? Les Olson IT has what you need. Find reliable HP printers, award-winning Sharp copiers, and high-end Ricoh graphic systems.
Les Olson IT.
They really can put your logo on just about anything. That's what they do at the Logo Shop. Businesses, teams, booster clubs, school organizations. Call the Logo Shop and have them show you the possibilities. The Logo Shop, committed to schools, teams, and youth groups.
Find the parts and the oil you need to keep your car and equipment running its best at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts. All the best brand names. And when you need professional help, Napa can recommend a dozen Napa Car Care Centers with ASE certified technicians.
At Planet Fitness, you'll get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this? This is better.
Join the judgment-free zone today for $15 a month. Planet Fitness. Big fitness energy for all.
DD Auto and Salvage is going to pay you the most for junk vehicles. Get rid of your junk vehicles today. Pickup is available. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204 today. See store for details.
When your car isn't working right, you just need someone who can help make your life a little easier. Cache Valley Auto Care can. Hear what people are saying online.
They'll always take the time to help you understand what they're doing to your car and go above and beyond to solve your issue.
Cache Valley Auto Care.
From what's happening in local political elections, to breaking news, to photo galleries and replays of the latest games. If it's happening in our community, it's on CashValleyDaily.com and the Cache Valley Daily app. Local, relevant news on CashValleyDaily.com.
Welcome back to Zions Bank Stadium here for the for a boys soccer state championship semifinal between the Ridgeline Riverhawks and Dixie Flyers. We're all tied up 0-0 as we sit at halftime. 5 minutes to go until the start of the second half, where things will perhaps be decided. We could still be even, as overtime has been the order of the day in multiple games here. In the previous game here at Zions Bank Stadium between Crimson Cliffs and Mountain View went to overtime. They were tied 1-1. Both of them got goals in the second half after a 0-0 halftime. But today's halftime show brought to you in part by Castelite. Whether you're looking for a brick for your home, tile for a bathroom remodel, or pavers for a new walkway, think Castelite online at castelite.com. As we look at kind of the balance between these two teams, and I'd say that Dixie certainly held the advantage early in the half, but Ridgeline really getting things under control and getting some possession, getting some chances. I said the best chance for either team came from Dixie, as they had through ball, managed to dribble into the box, get across over the 6-yard line, but ultimately Crosby West getting to the ball before Taylor Cogan, who's got nearly 30 goals, 29 goals, 15 assists on the season. He couldn't manage to get a foot on the ball and poke it over West before he could save it. So that's one of the things that's kept this game tied, but really not a whole lot of, I'd say, high quality chances. That's probably, that one from Dixie's probably the only one that I'd say is really high quality, really high likelihood of getting a goal, and just couldn't quite get it to go. So we'll see what these two teams, and I harped on it for most of the back half of the second half, how much of a high scoring game this could have been with the quality of teams. You know, you have a Ridgeline team that's averaging 3.3 goals per game. Dixie's averaging 4.2 goals per game. But teams get this far in the playoffs largely because of their ability to keep the other team from scoring. They say defense wins championships, and these two teams are certainly trying to show that here. The team that manages to shut down the other really solid offense is very likely going to be the one to face Crimson Cliffs in the championship game at America First Field. But it still is kind of surprising. Of the 4 games these two teams have played, they've scored at least 5 goals in 3 of them. You know, those 4 games in the playoffs. Dixie won 5-1 and 5-0 over Logan and Timpanogos. Ridgeline got a 5-1 win over Snow Canyon. Then the lowest scoring game between these two teams was 2-2. Ridgeline went 2 goals, 4-2 against Orem, ultimately winning that one in penalty kicks. And who knows, we could have another game where we go to overtime. We'll see if we go to penalty kicks. But we'll find out beginning in about 2.5 minutes. We're going to go ahead and take another break, and then we'll be back for the start of the second half here, this audio stream on CashValleyDaily.com, as well as on the radio on 104.5 The Ranch.
Locker 42. This is the store for Aggie fans. All your favorite apparel with an Aggie logo. Stay warm and fashionable in a cocoon blanket or a coat. Pick out a warm Aggie beanie. Choose a hat from Locker 42's wall of hats. This is the store where Aggie fans shop. Locker 42, downtown Logan.
When a client walks into the office, I want them to feel like they have a team that is full-time working for them.
We really start from the ground up, setting our goals, understanding your situation, and then building the plan to maximize that quality of life.
Visit Adams Wealth Advisors.
I have a deal for you. I'll turn the cable back on when you get my kitchen floor finished.
How do I do that in time to watch my team win?
Use the expert help at Castelite. For all your brick, block, rock, paver, and tile needs, castelite.com.
The Mountain Crest Booster Club encourages you to support the sponsors that support the Mustangs. Scabelin Roofing, Pool Orthodontics, Reed's Pharmacy, Airbound Gymnastics, Blue Water Construction, Mitco Landscaping, and Ridley's Market. To join the Mountain Crest Booster Club, contact the Mountain Crest Athletic Department and support the sponsors that support the Mustangs.
Searching for copiers and printers? Les Olson IT has what you need. Find reliable HP printers, award-winning Sharp copiers, and high-end Ricoh graphic systems.
Les Olsen IT.
They really can put your logo on just about anything. That's what they do at the Logo Shop. Businesses, teams, booster clubs, school organizations. Call the Logo Shop and have them show you the possibilities. The Logo Shop, committed to schools, teams, and youth groups.
Find the parts and the oil you need to keep your car and equipment running its best at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts. All the best brand names. And when you need professional help, Napa can recommend a dozen Napa Car Care Centers with ASE certified technicians.
At Planet Fitness, you'll get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this? This is better.
Join the judgment-free zone today for $15 a month. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
Welcome back to Zions Bank Stadium for the beginning of the second half of this 4A boys soccer semifinal playoff game. Ridgeline Riverhawks and Dixie Flyers knotted up at 2 as we head into the second frame. 40 minutes on the clock, and somebody's got to score at some point. We're either going to go to overtime, maybe penalty kicks, or one of these two teams will manage to solve this one here in the second half. These two sides average 7 goals a game between them. You'd have thought we'd have like a 4-3 game based on what these two teams average, but defense has been ascendant in this one, as the teams are walking away from their halftime huddles on the field back to the sideline, and the two teams will swap sides. Dixie will go right to left, and the Riverhawks will go left to right, as we look set to finish this one off. We didn't do the Logo Shop uniform check at the beginning of the game, but the Ridgeline Riverhawks mentioned there in the all whites, and Dixie in their all blues, a lighter blue, kind of between the Ridgeline Riverhawks blue of a deep navy and the Skyview Bobcats in the same region who have the sky blue color. Crosby West goalkeeper wearing an all pink uniform, and Mason Randolph wearing an all purple getup. Reminder, the Logo Shop, they can really put your logo on just about anything. Businesses, teams, booster clubs, school organizations, they all trust the Logo Shop. We logo stuff. Quick jump here in the second half as Dixie trying to get an attack going up this near sideline as they go right to left, but it ends up dropping out of bounds. Ridgeline will get a throw in. They'll send it up the near sideline going left to right. And although Dixie ends up on the right end of that throw in as they have the ball at midfield on this near sideline, trying to get some connections going as the sun comes out and the turf gets a lot brighter. A little harder for me to see as they are trying to work it up the near sideline. Again, losing out of bounds, basically the same spot they lost it earlier. Felix Meza a couple of times just trying to work past this Ridgeline back line, but just about nothing has worked so far against the stout Ridgeline defense. Randolph clears the ball after the ball got to him, and now pinballing around. A couple of players pinballing off each other, but referee has let a lot of contact go. Refereeing style I tend to be favorable, or in favor of. I like to see that. Although we have a foul just now as the ball was going toward the goalkeeper, and now we're going to get a talking to. Alex Sarabia going to get a talking to from the referees. The ball was bouncing toward the goalkeeper, Crosby West. He ends up getting it, but little too physical with Sarabia, and we're going to have a free kick. And Denier Dean, he was the victim in that foul, and he was maybe lobbying for a yellow card. We had a procedural yellow card earlier for not giving enough space on a free kick. But Dixie getting the ball here after the free kick that Ridgeline just had. Now we're pinballing around. Now the ball won by the Riverhawks. Barnett getting on it, and then he loses it as he tries to get further up the field. Now Dixie running into the attacking half. As they work the ball up the far sideline, kicked out of bounds, though, by Pirtle for the Riverhawks. Now Dixie trying to work it back midfield, but Pirtle heads it away and into the safe clutches of one of his teammates who clears it up the field, though Dixie getting the ball back and moving it back into Ridgeline territory, and the Riverhawks have to kick it out of bounds. And for a second, they weren't aware that it went out of bounds. It went high in the air and maybe over the sideline, but the assistant referee, the only one specifically watching for that in that case, and has to wait for the center referee to inform everyone the ball did in fact go out of bounds. So Dixie sending it in, but Ridgeline clearing it once again, getting it to the far sideline and midfield. As Dixie will throw it in. The 2-seed, it went. They threw it in a lot further upfield than I thought it went out of bounds. But it is the far sideline from my perspective. Heavens if I can tell where it actually went out of bounds. We're going to have another throw in from pretty much the same spot, although I think this time they are going to throw it in from midfield. Although it probably went out a little further up. Here we go, throw in. Controlled initially by Ridgeline, but then recovered by Dixie. And now back to Ridgeline, trying to get a through ball through, and I think he was offside. He was about half a foot offside. And I had a pretty good angle of that. About the only time I'm going to have a good angle for offside. But just barely, Connor Barnett was trying to hold his run, but the offside trap springs, and he can't get to that through ball after being in an illegal position. Long ball into the box, into the 6-yard box, but safely and comfortably corralled by the goalkeeper, West. 35 and a half minutes to play in the second half, 0-0, as we await our first goal from these two high-scoring teams who have used their defense to control the story of this game. Dixie in possession in the midfield circle, backing out into their defensive half here to the near sideline as they try and go right to left. Now again up the near sideline, give and go. Now a give again, and then kicked away by Ridgeline. Good step there from Dean as he stomps all over that attack and says, you're not getting any further. It'll be a throw-in for the Flyers. At midfield, or just in front of it, is where they're going to throw it. John Porter sending it in as Kogan trying to get that one further up the field. And we're going to have a foul. Again, I'm kind of shielded from this near sideline on the left. I have a hard time seeing. There's a couple of things obstructing my view. Hard for me to look around them. But a foul and now a free kick for Ridgeline. Pirtle sending it long up the field. It'll be corralled by Dixie. Some pressure from the Riverhawks. That's going to earn them the ball as they forced a bad pass. Now trying to cross, get it to the other side. A bit of contact, couple of bodies fall, but incidental for the most part as both teams still physically fighting, trying to get a handle on it. Ridgeline getting their feet, and now there's a foul, a trip. As the late challenge came after the ball had been dribbled away. And Ridgeline, about 15 yards into the attacking half, are going to get a free kick, and they'll try and lob this one into the box. They'll try and get a set-piece goal right here. It'll be Miguel Gustav kicking the ball. He lofts it in, driving it toward the 6-yard box, but leaping into the air and gracefully grabbing it is Mason Randolph. 33 minutes to play, and he'll drop kick it. And a good first touch from Dixie, managing to control. They don't have numbers forward, so they got to get things going. There's about 8 defenders back for the Riverhawks, and only about 5 players forward for Dixie. Now Kogan trying Trying to dribble it through the defense, getting it toward the end line, looking for a cross. Now sending it just past the top of the box. Dixie will back it up. John Porter on it. Looking for a pass. Bit of a give and go. Trying to get it to Kogan. Getting it on the end line. Looking for a cross. Now sending it in. West, pretty much the only one there. The two closest players were both wearing Ridgeline colors. Although the throw from West wasn't very good. It was intercepted. But luckily for the Riverhawks, the intercepted ball was tipped right toward one of their own. Graydon Rupp getting on the end of it, and he clears it all the way into Dixie territory, but they'll have a throw, which they just send in. But Ridgeline wins the ball with a good double team on defense, forcing a change of possession. Though then they give it right back as they try to maintain possession on the far sideline. They lose it out of bounds. Just under 32 minutes to play in the second half, and we'll have a foul, probably a couple of different cases that could have been a foul. Ridgeline's been physical, mostly clean. They didn't have any yellow cards yet, but that one just a little too much. And Dixie will have a free kick, which they will just cross over to the near sideline. Porter, with it, getting it past Riverhawks defense. Now Terraza, he was injured in the first half, but comes back in. Ridgeline, though, winning the ball from him. Looking for a pass. Cotter loses there. Barnett. He loses it, and then he commits a foul. And Terraza once again going down. And Barnett now going to get a talking to. Terraza's had a rough game this one. He took a late challenge that some referees might call a yellow card. And he stayed in, but then later just kind of went down, had to be attended to, left the game. Now he's back in. But Dixie now with it after the free kick. Moving into the attacking third. Got some room to run. Kogan nearly getting his feet on it. And now Ridgeline getting the ball forward. It was almost a 2-on-1 as Cotter and Barnett had it between them, but they couldn't quite corral it to force the issue. Now sending it to the far sideline, working it toward the middle of the field, trying to keep the ball on his feet, but losing it. And Dixie manages to get control of the ball for the moment. Kogan has it, then he loses it to the Riverhawks. Quick change of possession, back and forth. Riverhawks trying to push the ball up the field, and they'll have the ball poked away from them out of bounds. Carlos Chacope, poking the ball away. Although I believe the assistant referee had his flag raised, and they're going to stop the clock. I think maybe the sideline referee was indicating something that the center referee missed. And I can't read lips from this far away, even with the binoculars. So we're going to wait and see I'm wondering if the ball just went out of bounds before anyone kind of thought that it did or something. And so they're going to have to back things up. No, as far as I know, nothing happened. The assistant center had a conversation. Long ball sent in. Ridgeline trying to get it. They keep it in bounds on the end line, but it's stolen almost immediately by Dixie, so nothing coming of that. Although stolen back by Ridgeline, and then Dixie eventually clears it. A couple of tense moments for the Flyers. Ball's pinballing around midfield as the ball is fought for. Dixie going to settle it for the moment, and now they push the ball into the attacking half, although they give it straight away. Ridgeline with it now, just about at midfield. Kogan trying to steal the ball and doesn't manage to, and then a through ball nearly squirts through for a run for the Riverhawks, but now it's with Dixie as they counterattack. Now they back it up. They'll move things around the midfield. They'll cross it to the far sideline now. Under 29 minutes to play in this 0-0 ball game of the 4A boys soccer semifinal game. Kogan with the ball on his feet, trying to find an opening to shoot it. Doesn't get anything. Somebody lost a shoe. And a clock stoppage as Taylor Kogan is going to get a yellow card. Too much challenging and hand fighting, and ended up taking the shoe off of one of the Ridgeline players. Can't see from this. It's Vargas. He's the one that lost one of those neon green shoes. It's about the only way I could know for certain he lost his shoe, as I saw a neon green object fly into the air. Taylor Kogan's going to have to leave the game. He immediately just stands on the sideline as he'll come back into the game. He's clearly Dixie's top player, 29 goals on the season, leader in goals and assists, although Dixie is certainly not short of capable players. They have 3 players that have scored at least 8 goals on the season. But no goals today for either team. Ridgeline getting the ball up. Sideline Vargas, the one on the ball for the moment, as he works toward the middle, dancing around a couple of players, sends what I'll again courteously call a shot, but it was basically right at Mason Randolph as he easily corrals that, and now he'll boot it deep down the field. Headed back over midfield by the Riverhawks as we're pinballing around. Somebody's got to settle it. It'll be the Riverhawks. Cotter trying to get through the defense, trying to find an opening, see if he can find Barnett. Barnett coming to him, and the ball is tipped away. A race for the ball won by the Riverhawks. It'll eventually fall to Graydon Rupp. He passes, but his pass too shy, intercepted by Dixie. Now trying a long pass, but a good step there from Mason Rigby, but a late foul after the pass will erase his good effort. As I believe Miguel Gustav, the guilty party there. So it'll be a free kick about 15 yards inside the defensive half for Dixie as they try to send it forward, going right to left here. Lofted ball, bit of an awkward handle, and then nearly a bad pass, and ultimately not workable because it ends up going out of bounds. And then Ridgeline sends it forward, and they lose it out of bounds. And we'll have some substitutions in here. Taylor Kogan going to get back onto the field, and a couple of Ridgeline players on that far sideline. Subbing in, as for the moment, Ben Cotter going to sub off, as he'll take a brief rest and like to come back in for the late stretch of this game. We're 26 minutes left in regulation. I'm going to start saying that now as we're tied, so no resolution coming, at least in sight, as somebody's got to score. Riverhawks nearly getting the ball into the box, cleared away just as they got inside of it. Rupp getting his feet on it. 2 players slide into the ball. And now Ridgeline managing to get the ball for the moment, and then a miscommunication there. Melvin Contreras staying on the ground. 2 players slid in, and I think he wanted a foul drawn. He goes down his leg looking like it hurt, and he's jogging it off. It'll be a goal kick after all of that, as we're at 25 minutes to play. Ball headed forward by Ridgeline after the header. Barnett, he'll get tackled from behind, and they will call a foul. It's hard for me to hear if there's actually a whistle, but Barnett went down, tripped from behind. And we're basically the middle point. If there's an exact center to the Ridgeline attacking half, Ridgeline might just about be on it. Sideline to sideline and inline to the midfield stripe. So they're going to loft it. Well, they're not lofted, and they're a bit of a line drive and wide left. Not 100% sure if the plan was just kind of a knuckleball shot or maybe trying to get a lower pass and maybe a bit of a deflection there, but whatever the intent was, the execution was not there, unfortunately, for the Riverhawks. as they still look for their first goal. Both of these teams looking for their first goal here in the state semifinal. Winner will play Crimson Cliffs, a 2-1 winner over Mountain View earlier today. It was 1-1 at the end of regulation, so they were also tied. Both those teams getting goals in the second half. And then Crimson Cliffs getting the game winner 6 minutes into the first overtime period. Ridgeline winning the ball in their defensive half, sending it forward. Long run there. Barnett overruns the ball a little bit, so he's going to have to do some dancing around the defense. Working toward the end line, loses the battle initially, wins it back. Ball crosses the sideline. Who touched it last? I'm not 100% sure the referee was sure who that went off of last, as there was a bit of players dancing around the ball without touching it for the last 5 yards till it went out of bounds. But it'll be a Ridgeline ball, and I think they're going to try and set up a long corner. There's not enough place to run up and do a long throw in, and it doesn't go very far. And Dixie ultimately going to clear this one out toward midfield. Ridgeline having to keep Taylor Cogan off the ball. He wins it. Great effort there by Cogan, still trying to get it up the field, but he eventually loses that battle to Pirtle. Pirtle, and surrounded by 3 Dixie players, barely gets it away from their grasp, but ultimately Dixie going to get the ball at midfield. They push forward. But then a pass to Contreras goes a little off course, and we're going to get a throw-in for the Riverhawks and a couple of subs for Dixie. Asher Jorgensen and Wyatt Woods coming into the game. 22 minutes to go as this half crawls along. Eli Quist coming in for Gerardo Vargas on the Riverhawks side. If you have substitutions for both teams. Ridgeline throwing it in deep in their own defensive half. Trying to send it up. Quist just subbed in. Gets a head on it. We pinball around. Pirtle eventually getting his head on it. But it's controlled by Dixie as they settle it to their feet. Now on this near sideline. Trying to nutmeg the defender, but team defense wins out for Ridgeline as the nutmeg eventually fell to one of the defenders. Long pass. Ooh, offside. Ooh. I don't think Barnett thought he was offside, and I'm not 100% sure he was either. It was another one that was basically right on my line here. But we'll give the benefit of the doubt to the referee, who's, from my experience, when you're an assistant referee, you are specifically looking for that and just that. So just about 5 yards into the defensive half, it's an offside. Indirect free kick. Dixie sends it into the attacking half. Looking for a cross, maybe looking for that backside. There's a man kind of a lone way on the backside. Taylor Cogan getting it. Now they're going to switch the ball from near sideline to far sideline. Now sending a curling ball in. Tipped around, headed, and it's in! Dixie gets the first goal of the game. 20 minutes and 32 seconds left in the first half, and the Flyers are on the board. As that ball was headed around, bounced around. And I believe that was Felix Meza who got the goal. That's his second goal of the entire season, and a heck of a time for him to get his goal, his second goal, as Dixie now takes control of this game with just over 20 minutes to play, and we're going to have a yellow card for the Riverhawks. They've been playing physical all game and getting away with it without too many fouls, but the first yellow card for the Riverhawks comes out, and Miguel Gustav is the one who has it shown to him. And he'll have to come off the field. for the moment. It'll be Vargas coming onto the field for Gustav, who will take a seat on the bench for a moment. 20 minutes, 17 seconds to go here as Ridgeline now has some work to do. The high-scoring Flyers have gotten on the board. And the Riverhawks, who have been high-scoring themselves, they need something in these next 20 minutes if they're going to have a chance to advance to the championship game against Crimson Cliffs at America First Field. They win possession of the ball, now pushing it forward. Long pass forward, got a bit of a run. Trying to fend off the defense. He's got a bit of a shot on goal, but saved. Not quite enough on it is Ben Cotter. Couldn't manage to get enough of that ball with his left foot to force a more difficult save from Mason Randolph. As Randolph has his first major test of the day, and he passes. You can see that's the kind of stuff Ridgeline is going to have to create to get past the Dixie defense. Foul on the Riverhawks as Dixie will get a set piece. About the same distance as the corner, just a slightly different angle as they're about 10 yards above the goal box. But basically on the near sideline. Dixie doesn't have a whole lot of players forward. As the Flyers, they're only going to have 2 players on the end of this set piece. But they back out of it anyway. They don't even send it in toward the box. They try and set something up in the midfield. And I wonder if they're going to start parking the bus. Be kind of a weird for a high-scoring team like this to not be aggressive. I don't know if it's in their nature. Taylor Cogan trying to push the ball forward, has the ball taken away from him. Ridgeline sends it up, but also out of bounds on the near sideline. 18 minutes to play here. 1-0 for the Dixie Flyers. Reminder at the Cater Shop, it's a 4-time gold medal menswear store winner in the Best Northern Utah contest. Proud to support Ridgeline Sports and all their student athletes. Now Ridgeline sending a ball to the far side of the goal box. They've got a man on the other end of it. Wolfley trying to maintain possession, but he can't quite hang on to it on the far sideline. Dixie taking over. Now after the throw-in, Ridgeline managing to win it. Wolfley now on it, trying to poke the ball forward, but just barely won by Dixie, or at least cleared out momentarily. And now, oh no, a bit of contact. I thought the referee was going to blow the whistle, but he's saying it's no contact, even though some players fell on the ground. Now Ridgeline trying to work it up the near sideline, give and go. Moving toward the end line, and a bit of a body check. And I believe, yeah, they're gonna call a foul there. There's a bit of a, they're calling it a little earlier. I think there was an earlier trip before the body bump. I wasn't sure if the referee was going to call that one because it's kind of a minor trip. Not a ton there. But Ridgeline, the ball is about 1.5 feet out of the goal box. And just about level, although slightly closer to the end line than the top of the goal box. It's a very dangerous angle, though tricky angle to really get something going. Sending it toward the top of the box, trying to shoot, and there may have been a handball. I thought there might have been a handball there, but the referee, I don't know if he was in a good enough spot to see it. While still pinballing around the top of the box as players desperately fight for it. Ridgeline trying to get a foot on it, and now Dixie finally getting it away, although stopped after a second by Ridgeline as they try and poke the ball into space where they're at, but Dixie ultimately coming away from that, and then a bit too much of a shove there. A foul on Ridgeline as Dean gets his shoulder And we have a stoppage of play here as Dean is going to get a talking to and maybe a card as play is stopped. Yep, Denaire Dean going to get a yellow card. Second for the Riverhawks in this half as he'll take a seat on the bench for the moment. As per the rules of getting a yellow. So 15 minutes and 42 seconds. That's what we have remaining in this one. And if the score stands, Dixie will win 1-0. Long pass forward, getting just over the defense. And it's Wyatt Woods in the box, so he dribbles the ball out of the box. He waits for assistance, and then his pass out is intercepted by the Riverhawks as they work their way up the far sideline. Bit of a give and go as they keep going up the far sideline. Through ball. Again at the sideline, but it's going to just trickle over the sideline as it was just a little too far out in front of Barnett as he was trying to get on the other end of that one. We're under 15 minutes to play the last quarter hour of this semifinal game. Ridgeline needs a goal to tie this one up and give themselves a chance to advance. Long ball from the goalkeeper headed forward almost deftly to Miguel Gustave, who's come in after receiving a yellow card of his own a few minutes back. Barnett trying to dribble in, ball pinballing a bit around, and a handball. They're calling a handball. I believe there was one in the box earlier. Kind of a ball-to-hand handball. Well, this one is being called just outside of the box. We're about a yard outside of the box and about the left third of the goal box from Ridgeline's perspective. It's a very dangerous place. And Mason Randolph setting up his box to try and protect his near post. Not defending his far post super carefully. But at 6'3", he'll have a chance to move over if Ridgeline tries to hit that top corner. Kick goes straight into the wall. And ball handled around and eventually a shot. Soft shot. And it doesn't bother Randolph too much as he records another somewhat easy save on his stat sheet. And he'll drop kick the ball into Ridgeline territory. Header won by the Flyers as they get control. Now sending a through ball in. A chance for the Flyers and then a foul. And we're probably going to have another yellow card as that was a foul almost in scoring position. Asher Jorgensen is the one who was fouled. And yes, a yellow card to the Riverhawks. Third one this half. And that one handed to Braxton Perry. And so we're going to have a free kick inside that little circle on top of the goal box, more toward the right side. Incredibly dangerous position. And the Riverhawks need to force a save here, force a stop. Don't let Dixie get a goal here. It's going to be Taylor Cogan standing over the ball. He's going to have about an 8-yard run-up. At least that's what it looks like he's setting up right now. We'll see what his true run-up is. He steps a little closer to the ball, and I think now he's going to set things up. Cogan again, standing over the ball. It'll be about a 5-yard run-up now. Just outside the box. Left foot rip, and it's a goal. West barely had a chance to get his feet moving before that ball rippled the side netting of the goal, and Ridgeline down 2-0. Things facing a dire situation now. 13:09 to go. 2 goals from the Flyers this half. One from Felix Meza and another now off the free kick from Taylor Cogan, who's been frustrated a lot this half. It was Cogan, number 13. Yeah, so we had, the announcers were wanting to double check who scored the goal, and it was indeed Taylor Cogan. He's got his 30th goal on the season. So he's kind of been, I wouldn't say frustrated in body language, but you could tell obviously he was working really hard to get good scoring opportunities and had been frustrated in those designs, but he's fought through them pretty well and ultimately getting his great scoring chance there. Ridgeline committing a bit of a foul there, and not committing a bit of, they commit a foul, as they're now down 2-0. Some more contact, but Ridgeline coming away the better of it with the ball, as now they enter a bit of a desperation mode, trying to get something going. Trying to get a long pass forward, but Dixie heads it away. Pirtle managing to get on the ball, pushes the ball forward, but is touched too hard. And it'll be a Dixie throw-in. Under 12 minutes to play. We're going to have some subs here. Contreras coming back onto the field. As we'll have a substitution here. Players jogging on and jogging off the field. So Dixie throws the ball in. And Ridgeline heads the ball out of bounds 10 yards up the field. Now ball getting put up the field by Dixie, and the ball is tipped out of bounds over the end line for a Riverhawks goal kick. Just under 11 minutes to play. Goal kick initially touched by the Flyers, but it goes out of bounds. Ridgeline going to throw in. Eli Quist on the far sideline. I think he's looking for a long pass. They're going to try and send it to him, although it curls a little bit toward the middle. Nearly a iffy situation there between John Porter and his goalkeeper. But Dixie corrals it. Now a long pass forward. Contreras trying to get behind the defense, working down the near sideline, but has it tipped away from him and out of bounds. It'll be a Dixie throw-in. So Dixie, they're going to take their dear sweet time as we're about to cross under 10 minutes to play. The Riverhawks needing something of a miracle here. 2 goals at minimum, as Dixie's gotten their offense going this half, but Ridgeline not as good as they were for much of that first half, where they created a few decent chances. They've had one, I guess, fairly high-quality chance, forcing a difficult save from Mason Randolph. Dixie winning the ball close to midfield, but then losing it pretty quickly after. Now trying a long through ball, but I think Ben Cotter pulled up because I think he knew he was a couple yards offside. And now Randolph just letting the ball sit and forcing Cotter to come to him. He'll pick it up. 9.5 minutes to play in this game. So here we go. Ball drop kicked across midfield, headed by Ridgeline. Now waiting to see who settles it. A couple more headers. And now Ridgeline getting it to their feet, although immediately kicked away by Dixie as they were trying to pass it to Cotter, and it's booted a few yards out of bounds. Ridgeline will throw in at midfield as they get a quick sub. Eli Quist coming off as Luke Bingham coming onto the field. Trying to work the ball up the near sideline, nothing doing. Ball goes out of bounds. Stays with Ridgeline, though, as they have the throw-in. Now, again, still working it up that far sideline, getting a little bit of space, trying to get it toward the middle. getting it to Cotter, working it toward the end line and then working his way backward. And then loses the ball out of bounds. He thought he'd want to throw in, but it went off of him last. So it'll be a Dixie throw in. 8 minutes to play is the clock. Very much working against the Riverhawks right now. Dixie with the ball, slowly working their way up. Although, long pass, a medium length pass, not too much of a long pass. Goes out of bounds. It'll be a Riverhawks throw. Rupp on the end of the throw. Passes it over to Jones. Jones fumbling a bit with it. Now facing some pressure. Kicks it forward, finds Pirtle. Pirtle looking for a pass, trying to find Bingham. But it's kicked out of bounds. Bingham throws into Pirtle. Pirtle loses it. Contreras getting it. Trying to punch the ball past, and then he goes acrobatic. He was trying to draw a foul. I thought there was contact, even if he embellished it to the highest degree, but I guess the referee saw the embellishment and decided that there wasn't a foul. Now Ridgeline getting on the other end of a clearance, working the ball into the attacking third, trying to find a cross or work it toward the middle, and offside as a quick little pass forward turns out to be offside. As it was Gustav trying to send the ball forward, but instead with 6.5 minutes to play, Dixie's going to have an indirect free kick about level or just about on the top right corner of their goal box. Long kick forward, just about to Ridgeline's goal box. Bit of a bicycle kick from the Riverhawks defense, trying to get the ball forward. They control it for a moment. They're going to have to back pass to the goalkeeper, West. With just over 6 to play, is going to send a long kick forward, headed by the Flyers, kicked around, eventually settled by the Flyers. They managed to, for the moment, keep it away from Ridgeline, though not for long, as they managed to step in and steal the ball away. Long ball forward, Barnett. Looks like he might have got pulled down, but referee says play on. Now Ridgeline getting it to the far sideline. Gustav back toward the middle, dumps it off. Hard touch on the pass, ends up allowing a Dixie steal. And they'll clear it forward and be content with that. 5.5 minutes to play here. As the sun comes out, shines a little bit brighter, and the Riverhawks are going to have to shine a bit brighter if they're going to come away with the win here. They're down 2-0 with 5.5 to play. A spot in the championship game on the line. Contreras trying to fight toward the end line to get across, or perhaps toward the corner flag to buy more time, but his touch is too hard and it goes over the end line. So goal kick for the Riverhawks as we have some more substitutions. Subs for both sides. And now Ridgeline quick on the goal kick. Before, technically, one of the subs had even gone off the field, but referee allows it. He was basically off the field. Now the Riverhawks throwing it in after the ball was tipped out of bounds. Still on, they've been working that far sideline a lot. Things haven't worked for them. Bit of a contact there. I got to see who they're calling the foul on. They both kind of just tangle up. It's going to be on Ridgeline as referee deems them the aggressors in that entanglement. 4:15 to go here in the game. Dixie, that exact time away from being the victors here. Ridgeline getting possession of the ball, trying to send it forward, but way too far ahead of Connor Barnett. Under 4 minutes to play. And another long drop kick from Randolph. Now Ridgeline managing to get possession, lofting one toward the top of the box. Randolph challenged and manages to get the ball, takes a bit of a bump, sells the bump a little bit. And the assistant thought it was a foul, the center referee not calling it. And now the drop kick comes. 3 minutes, 15 seconds to play. As Ridgeline has to get something happening now, but seems unlikely. Felix Meza on the ball now, passes it. Meza got the opening goal on a kind of a crazy sequence where the ball just kind of trickled into the side net. Now a long run, Pirtle, and the ball's going to go over the end line. It was off the head of one of the Dixie players. Ridgeline going to send just about everyone up. Pirtle going to take the corner. He loft this one in long. The Ridgeline's got a man on the far side of the box to corral that one. This is Gustav, but he ultimately loses the ball out of bounds. It took a higher hop than he was expecting, and he had to backpedal and ultimately can't get a handle on it. 2 minutes, 28 seconds to go. Dixie subbing in a few players. The clock stops as they're the only ones to substitute here. And so the Flyers now throw in. Clock restarts. Under 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes to play. Ball trickles out of bounds for a Ridgeline throw. They throw it in immediately, but Dixie on the other end of it. Now a bit more pinballing around. Dixie has it. Passing it around the Wolfley, now getting on it for the Riverhawks. Trying to send it forward, bit of a contact and a foul. Ridgeline with the beneficiary call. Under 2 minutes to play. Ridgeline has to get something. Long pass. Trying to get it into the box, and it's going to be a goal kick. And as we tick ever closer, 1:40 to go, and now more subs. As they're just subbing guys in and out. Clock stops for each of these substitutions. So 1 minute, 30 seconds to play in this one. Ridgeline looking like they're facing the end of their season. And I think we've got a high kick. Ridgeline going to restart as quickly as they possibly can with 1 minute, 20 seconds to go. Long kick into the box, and it rolls safely out of bounds for a goal kick. Mason Randolph going to take his time. Well, he's going to drop it off to one of his defenders for the goal kick. Here comes the goal kick, and we're going to cross under 1 minute to play. Ridgeline getting on the end of the goal kick initially, but losing the ball. Dixie has it now. 53 seconds to play. Long pass up the field. Looking for Rowan Johnson. So he tries to find some space. Had his pocket picked. Ridgeline kicks it forward. 40 seconds to play. And Ridgeline desperately fighting for the ball. Dixie clears the ball forward. Goes into the box. Crosby West. 29 seconds. He drop kicks it frantically forward, and the ball goes out of bounds. Dixie will have the ball. They'll throw it in with 16 seconds left. So they throw it in. Ridgeline begins to hang their heads. As a foul on the Riverhawks will ultimately be the last thing they do in their season. As the Dixie Flyers will win this one 2-0, and the Riverhawks season comes to an end in the semifinals. The 6th seed making their way all the way, the region champions making their way, but ultimately falling to the number 2 seed, Dixie Flyers, who will advance to the championship round to face Crimson Cliffs later this week at America First Field. We'll take a quick break, summarize the game, and finish our broadcast here on 104.5 The Ranch and the audio stream on CashValleyDaily.com.
The office, I want them to feel like they have a team that is full-time working for them.
We really start from the ground up, setting our goals, understanding your situation, and then building the plan to maximize that quality of life.
Visit Adams Wealth Advisors.
I have a deal for you. I'll turn the cable back on when you get my kitchen floor finished.
How do I do that in time to watch my team win?
Use the expert help at Castalite. For all your brick, block, rock, paver, and tile needs, Castalite.com.
The Mountain Crest Booster Club encourages you to support the sponsors that support the Mustangs. Scabelin Roofing, Pool Orthodontics, Reed's Pharmacy, Airbound Gymnastics, Blue Water Construction, Mitco Landscaping, and Ridley's Market. To join the Mountain Crest Booster Club, contact the Mountain Crest Athletic Department and support the sponsors that support the Mustangs.
Searching for copiers and printers? Les Olson IT has what you need. Find reliable HP printers, award-winning Sharp copiers, and high-end Ricoh graphic systems.
Les Olson IT.
They really can put your logo on just about anything. That's what they do at the Logo Shop. Businesses, teams, booster clubs, school organizations. Call the Logo Shop and have them show you the possibilities. The Logo Shop, committed to schools, teams, and youth groups.
Find the parts and the oil you need to keep your car and equipment running its best at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts. All the best brand names. And when you need professional help, Napa can recommend a dozen Napa Car Care Centers with ASE certified technicians.
Welcome back to the post-game show here on 104.5 The Ranch and audio streaming on CashValleyDaily.com, home of Region 11 Sports. Jason Walker with you here at the end of, ultimately, the season for the Ridgeline Riverhawks as they fall 2-0. 2 second-half goals from the Flyers, ultimately sealing their fate. They couldn't find the back of the net. They'd scored 7 goals in their first 2 playoff games, but the games get tougher and the margins get thinner in the playoffs. But I want to congratulate the Ridgeline Riverhawks on an overall successful season. They finished 14-4 on the season, having reached the semifinals, going 10-2 in region play. Region 11 champions, but coming up short here. I'd like to thank the sponsors of Spring Sports and Ridgeline Riverhawks Sports, Logo Shop, Castalite, Cater Shop, DD Auto and Salvage, Planet Fitness, Adams Wealth Advisors, Young Toyota and Young Honda, Napa Auto Parts, Les Olson IT, Great Basin Graphics, and Cache Valley Auto Care. Spring Sports, as always, available on CashValleyDaily.com. Audio streams during the playoffs and, of course, video streams throughout the season. Spring Sports, Fall Sports, Winter Sports. You have it here on our family of radio stations at Cache Valley Media Group and streaming online. I've been Jason Walker. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to today's broadcasts, and have a good evening.
This Ridgeline Riverhawks broadcast has been a presentation of 104.5 The Ranch and CashValleyDaily.com, made possible by the support of our sponsors, Castalite, The Cater Shop, DD Auto and Salvage, Great Basin Graphics, Adams Wealth Advisors, Cache Valley Auto Care, Young Toyota and Young Honda, Cache Valley Daily, Napa Auto Parts, Les Olson IT, The Logo Shop, and Planet Fitness. Watch replays of previous games on CashValleyDaily.com.